We have some very interesting news to discuss today, as recent reports have suggested that the Maple Leafs have a new trade target in mind. So to break down that report as well as Joseph Woll, we have an injury update on that front, and it's not looking great if you're a Leafs fan. So stay tuned for all that. But before we do get into it, quick reminder to hit the subscribe button. About 80% of you guys who are watching right now are not subscribed. So if you aren't subscribed, scroll down, hit that button if you like daily Leafs news. Now, let's get right into the video right now. There's a lot of stuff going on in Leafs Nation. There's a lot of stuff going on in Toronto sports right now with the Shohei Ohtani stuff, but I'll digress with that for a little bit, and let's just discuss some recent reports that have come out. So we are all aware, and we saw it in yesterday's game, that Joseph Woll went down with injury, and we'll get into an injury update later on in the video, but this even highlights the need for Brad Treliving to make a move to get another defenseman even more. And me and Darius discussed it in yesterday's video and videos before that. We need a defenseman. We need one soon. We probably need more than one. And a report came out that a defenseman that the Leafs could have in mind is a very interesting target. So let's just get right into the report here. And his name is Mario Ferraro. Now, a lot of you might be familiar with him. Some of you might not be. He's a 25-year-old left shooting defenseman from Toronto. And you can pause and read if you haven't heard about him. But he's 6 foot. He's a defensive-minded defenseman. He has some edge to his game. And so far, he has 4 assists, 27 hits, 77 block shots. So this guy would add exactly what Brad Treliving wants to add to the team, which is some grit, which is some, he's not huge, but which is some grit, some defensive-minded blue line play, and overall just a very good complementary piece to their other blue liners like Morgan Rielly and hopefully Timothy Liljegren when he comes back. Now, Mario Ferraro is an interesting guy to keep in mind because he also has some term. Now, this was the also report from the Carolina Hurricanes, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Edmonton Oilers, and the Flames and the Stars are among the teams believed to have interest in Ferraro, who is also on the radar of several other clubs. And Sharks GM Mike Grier is not believed to be overly interested in moving Ferraro for future assets and draft picks. Any move may look for a talent swap or in a larger package that brings back young NHL talent to San Jose. Now, when you're looking at some of the control that he has 3 years left, including this one, I believe $2.5 million cap hit. So he is an interesting guy to keep in mind. And again, when we look back and we start to connect the dots with Brad Treliving's plans regarding acquiring a defenseman, obviously he would prefer a right-handed defenseman, but if we get one that's left, like Mario Ferraro, he has term. He is under contract for 3 more years, including this year, so 2 after this year. And the big thing about this is we know Brad Treliving wants to make a move that shores up this core defensively to some degree going forward. If we would have got Chris Tanev and Nikita Zadorov, as great as they would have been as a combo this year, they're both pending unrestricted free agents. So if we get Ferraro, that leaves the door open to get another potential guy like Chris Tanev, who's a pending free agent, without worrying about both of your major acquisitions leaving. Now, there is some heavy competition there, and when you're looking at some NHL talent that's ready to go to San Jose, you can bring up a few guys and let me know in the comments who you think would be a potential fit to go to the Maple Leafs in a trade, or sorry, to go to the Sharks in a trade if the Maple Leafs are getting Ferraro. Again, they don't want prospects. So with a guy like, I saw some reports of Nick Robertson, Abrazizi, who's a bit of a prospect. You have tons of prospects that they could take, but again, if they want NHL talent, you're kind of more limited now, because even guys like Benoit, who's been playing very well, don't hold too much value, and they would be considered our NHL-ready guys. So I don't know if the Leafs are going to want to make a trade for a team that's not, prospects like Abrazizi. Nick Robertson's been playing well for the Leafs, so he's not really a prospect anymore. But it just becomes very interesting and very maybe difficult to pull off because he's 25 years old. He's pretty young, entering his prime, has some salary. Okay, so salary cap hit is $3.25 million a season until the end of 2025, 2026. So I believe 2 or 3 years left on his contract and no playoff experience, and it is the Sharks, but he has a bulldog-like attitude, which is exactly what Brad Treliving wants. And again, his underlying numbers aren't great, but I'd be more than willing to take my chances. That was from a Leaf article. And that this report is just very interesting that the Leafs are looking to acquire this guy. And it just goes to show, this from, by the way, for all you looking out there, this article is from David Pagnotta from the fourth period, meaning he's very reliable. He's gotten things right in the past, and hopefully this guy from the Fourth Period podcast will be, right in this case, because I would not mind Mario Ferraro. So let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are on him, because he's a very interesting player. It would make sense for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's a dog. He's very good defensively, albeit the underlying metrics aren't phenomenal. I think it's a flyer you got to take if you're the Maple Leafs, because you need to get a guy that has some term to go alongside some unrestricted free agents pending that you might trade for in Chris Tanev or whoever else is going forward that you might look to acquire. And we know that Brad Treliving, based on reports, he's looking for a guy with term. He's looking for a guy who's defensive minded, and he does not want to overpay, and he wants to pay a proper price. So if the proper price and the price is right for Mario Ferraro, this could be a very, very interesting acquisition. All right, let's move on now to a bit of a more saddening one here, which is a major Woll update. And Joseph Woll yesterday, we all saw Darius's video. The Leafs took a very decent win against the Ottawa Senators. Obviously, they probably should have won by more than 4-3, but ultimately they got the win. Joseph Woll was having the game of his life, the game of the season, the game of his career. He was really starting, I've said it on videos in the past, he's really starting to settle in as our number one goalie. Samsonov has been very bad. He has been underwhelming, to say the least. And Joseph Woll was really starting to get into the groove, and he was playing very well. We saw his unbelievable, one of the saves of the year yesterday, and then he went down on a fairly routine save. He got hurt, and he seems to be out for the foreseeable future. And this kind of looks into now, what are the Leafs going to do? Are they going to keep rocking Martin Jones, who they currently have on the team? And Martin Jones has been not great this year, obviously, but in the past, he's had some moderate levels of success. Hasn't had a great season in 5 years since 2017. So you're really starting to wonder now, is Martin Jones and Ilya Samsonov a combo that you can trust going forward, paired with the lackluster blue line core? And we have Sheldon Keefe speaking out. He said Woll's injury is unfortunate. He's been playing so well and building such momentum in his season and his career. That is why you sign veteran depth. Obviously referring to Martin Jones, who's 33 years old, has had NHL experience. I got to give Brad Treliving credit for signing Martin Jones. Obviously, he's not the best option in the world, but he's a veteran. He has tons of NHL experience, tons of games played, and that's really the big thing here, is you want someone who can slide in and not be afraid of the spotlight. And Martin Jones hopefully will be able to at least play as good as Ilya Samsonov has this season, which has been very, very poor. And we have some more players speaking out, and this is the injury update here. Woll's missed some significant time for the Maple Leafs with an injury. He was helped off the ice in the third period, recalled from AHL. We're not familiar quite yet on what the injury is. I'm assuming we'll get some more information tomorrow before the game, but it sucks. It is about as bad as it could have gotten, aside from another blue line injury. We've had so many injuries now. Liljegren's down. Connor Timmins was out earlier to start the year. Joseph Woll, now our number one prize possession goalie, is out. And I don't know where the Leafs go from here without their prize possession in Joseph Woll, because Martin Samsonov, that pairing is not going to be good enough to win many games paired with how bad this blue line is. So does Brad Treliving shift his focus now to making a trade for another goalie? Does he shift his focus to improving the blue line? He has tons of things to do, and so far you can see this here. Morgan Rielly spoke out on Woll. He was obviously outstanding tonight. He's been great every time he's been in the net for us. So when you've got a young guy like that who's confident and playing as well as he is, that's a good sign for our team. And then ultimately went down with the injury. So hopefully Martin Jones can step up here and really put in some work and replace somewhat of what Joseph Woll was able to do this season. But if he can't, Brad Treliving might have to start looking on the trade block. But goalies are not easy to find, nowhere near as easy to find as blue liners. So it's going to be very scary. It's going to be very interesting for the Leafs over the next couple weeks. They need to keep winning, and hopefully this injury only keeps him out for, like I said, 1 to 2 weeks, maybe a month. 1 to 2 months would be not great. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this potential trade, as well as the Joseph Woll injury update. Times are tough as Leafs fans right now, but let's just stay tuned and stay praying that Joseph Woll will be able to come back soon.